Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the CI Sports Zone. I'm Christopher Huselig. Joining with me, as always, two of the most knowledgeable sports people in our area.
Whoa, I don't know if I go that far about me. Definitely JM.
Thomas Garvrick, my co-host, the general manager of Clutch Sports Media, Jonathan Michael, and fellas, we got some interesting football that happened this last week/weekend. Before we get going, though, I mentioned before we started, this is our 13th episode.
How about that?
So we've been going for just over 3 months now-ish.
How about that?
And big shout-out to everyone who's been watching. I know Thomas said he's been ran into people out in the public who have noticed him. I know my family's watching. I'm sure lots of people out there watching. Also, every Tuesday I talk with the people who help clean the station, Arsenio and Willie, and they love the show too. So just even having people that are a part of our WMBD team here watching really means a lot, and we really appreciate all the support we have gotten on our venture here as well. There's one left, fellas. One football team left in our viewing area in the playoffs.
Well, I just think it's cool that our cleaning staff here watches it. I know when Christopher told me that was pretty cool that they watch it, they enjoy it. Big shout out to them.
They keep this place looking clean so we can have a nice professional looking podcast.
That's exactly right.
We
Before
always
we
love it.
talk all about the high school, football quarterfinals and all those great matchups, do want to give a quick shout out though to all of our local area volleyball teams who had a heck of a run to state.
Yep.
Big congratulations to U-High for winning at state. Central Catholic runners up again, and then Tremont came in 4th place, their first trip to state ever. It was really cool. Kurt Pegler, our sports director, tweeted that one IHSA official said that Tremont was the most upbeat 4th place finisher ever at state. And that just goes to show how they were just so happy to be there. Obviously, of course, when you get to state, you want to win it, but that's just a testament to that Tremont culture that they have, and just really cool for them. I know that I had seen Tremont play Tri-Valley once in volleyball. They gave Tri-Valley a good run for their money in that game as well, but just really cool to see just area success for multiple volleyball teams. Again, it didn't end the way that Central Catholic and Tremont hoped, but again, big congrats to U-High. Awesome. We love when our local area teams do well.
Yeah, it makes this podcast a lot more fun too.
Yeah, it gives us things to talk about.
We get to start the podcast off on a high note before we got to get a little bit sad again, before we get a little bit high again. It's just it's a roller coaster of emotion, and we hope you guys enjoy it. And we appreciate you guys for joining. So kind of getting started here, as we kind of alluded to, there was some pretty unfortunate losses. This
we went in with 6 teams.
We went in with 6. We're down to El Paso Gridley.
Just one.
We knew we were going to get at least one team to advance. The problem was we only got one team to advance. Every other team that could have lost, unfortunately, lost.
Yeah.
So a requiem for Central Illinois football, aside from EPG this past
Whoa,
week.
That's a big word that you just used there, JM.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that was...
Some people are pulling out the dictionary. What does that word mean?
REQUIEM.
I am some people, by the way.
Let's see. It is...
Christopher, at least you're honest.
It is essentially a musical composition setting parts for a Requiem Mass, and a Requiem Mass is a repose for the souls of the dead, unfortunately.
Wow. I don't know what you just said, Jonathan. I'm gonna be real honest. We'll just move on.
An act or token of remembrance is also another definition it gives. I think that's a little bit easier to put out there. An act or token of, so we were remembering all the Central Illinois football teams that unfortunately were eliminated, aside from EPG. But yeah, see Washington, a tough matchup with them against Providence Catholic.
Yeah.
That was a team that, again, just is, you talk about tradition and success. I mean, they've won 10 state titles, Providence has, and now they're looking for their 11th. So again, I mean, it was a close game at halftime. Washington actually scored the first touchdown.
They did. They were
led
winning.
6-0. It was 7-6 at halftime, and then Providence just ran away in the second half. So. Unfortunately, end of the season for Washington. I still think they were arguably, along with Peoria High, probably the top team, at least large school team in our area this year. And also, too, I just saw this earlier. I was not expecting the matte black helmets from Washington. That was the first time I've ever seen those.
Yeah.
So Panthers switched it up, whatever. Maybe tried to, do a little something different for the quarterfinals. I've got to wonder if maybe next year maybe they'll just stick with the regular white ones. Say, hey, last time we wore these, we we lost. But again,
it's time to just retire him, is what Jonathan's.
well, I'm not saying that. I think they look really good. It just depends on how superstitious people are.
Yeah.
But, again,
I very much so am in the
I am.
playoffs and stuff like
Yeah.
that. But
yeah, I am for sure as well. Well, again, a lot of great seniors, whose careers are capped off for Washington. Will Freeman, A.J. Jones, Josh Hofer, Devin Miller, a lot of other guys too. I mean, I could go on further down the list too. But Washington's a team that just replaces a key senior group every year, and there's more key seniors that come through every year than do a nice job of kind of filling the shoes. So Washington should be good again next year. Noah Garcia's back, so going to be good things coming for Washington.
that's the big piece for them, is that Noah Garcia will be back. Really impressed with that young man this year, because he was only a sophomore?
Yeah.
Yeah, really impressed with him. Obviously, hats off to Will Freeman and the rest of those seniors. I saw Will Freeman was named to the 5A All-State team, which was obviously well-deserved. I mean, one of the best Panthers to ever put on the uniform for sure. Very decorated with everything he did in the backfield there. But, yeah, good run for Washington. I know that as the 1 seed, they were obviously hoping for a little bit more. But, hey, another year of dominating in the Middle Illini, winning it again. And, there's no shame in getting to the Final 8 in your bracket in 5A there. So hats off to the Panthers. Tough end though.
Yeah, well, obviously right now we're looking at Tri-Valley, and before we get into later on EPG with their win over Farmington, Tri-Valley faced off against Wilmington, and Wilmington got kind of taken care of pretty. Wilmington has been on a roll. We mentioned it last week though, so that was kind of that was the game that was just showing up there, and it was a good season by Tri-Valley. I mean, you can't. Sometimes you just get you made it to the quarterfinals. That's a pretty good run in the season so far. So
yeah, and they upset obviously Rockridge 2 weeks ago. At least again seed wise, it's an upset. But again, remember we talked about it. Wouldn't be surprised to see Tri-Valley make a deep run. And again, just that. I mean, every single year that 2A North bracket is just an absolute bear to get through and everything. And there's always seemingly like some team, whether that's either Farmington or Wilmington or some years maybe even Maroa Forsyth if they're in like the north portion of the bracket. I mean, there's always a team every year that just looks at a whole another level. And this year it looks like that's Wilmington. Again, they've played a really tough schedule. They nearly beat Morris, who you guys might remember. They beat Peoria High earlier in the season. And again, this is a 2A squad that hung with that Morris team. They also have had some other big wins. They beat Seneca, 42-0. Throwback to last week, we mentioned they beat West Hancock 70-8.
Yeah.
Hey, all right, do I have to hear about this again? Okay, it was an accident.
No. I just happened to see. I was like, well, kind of low hanging fruit there, but yeah, no. I mean, Wilmington obviously looks really good, and Tri-Valley again, another good season for them. I think they kind of suffer those 2 losses in the middle of the season. People kind of wonder, like, hey, is this going to be, a bit of a down year for Tri-Valley? And again, obviously, I think that's a team every year expects to make it deep in the playoffs. So I'm sure they're not happy, or I'm sure they're not satisfied when they lost in the quarterfinals. But again, another really strong year for the Vikings. And they had a lot of seniors, on that team this year. So be curious to see how they are next year. But again, I think like Washington, it's just a program that just replenishes talent every year. You can count on them being a playoff threat.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how Tri-Valley bounces back, and hopefully they can hang on to that upset victory over Rockridge to get to the quarterfinals. Before we talk about that EPG Farmington game, and for a side note, unfortunately, Patrick Cunningham will not be joining us today, so he is doing his civic duty. He got called in for jury duty. How about that?
How about it?
How about that? So he will not be able to.
This podcast is more important than jury. No, I'm just kidding. Never.
Anyway, they probably don't allow Patrick to tune into this live while he's on jury duty. I'm sure they probably wouldn't be too happy, but I'm sure Patrick could, he would.
Could you imagine we just call him in? Hey, can we get your take on the game that you were at on Saturday?
I will venture to say Patrick would much rather be at the station talking with us than sitting in jury duty, as I'm sure that is not very fun.
Yeah, Patrick has extensive, background with getting to be a part of the stuff like that. He actually worked at a station in Texas and did a lot of, court covering cases and stuff like that, similar to what Christopher does. But before,
it's just in loving memory of Patrick.
Oh, look at that.
Oh man,
poor guy. Poor guy.
Salute.
Hate to see it. Hate to see it. Before we get to that EBG Farmington game, though, Peoria High also seeing their season end.
Yep.
I know that we thought when the bracket first came out that we felt like there was a strong possibility that Peoria High and Washington could meet in the state Final Four. It didn't pan out that way. Both teams losing in the quarterfinals. JM, what stuck out to you from their performance against Oak Forest?
Yeah, again, obviously I wasn't at that game. I wasn't able. At least not yet. I've not been able to go back and watch it. But what I do know is that one of my buddies, one of his dads, was at the game and everything, and it was a close game. I was following the score throughout. It was 27-20 Oak Forest at one point in the fourth quarter. Peoria High just couldn't seem to get that late score. Kind of like they did against Morton back in the second round, where they had that comeback win and got the game-winning touchdown, obviously on that final drive. One other thing I did hear about it again, and I don't know. This is all subjective. I did hear that there were some questionable calls that did go against Peoria High. Obviously, to make it deep in the playoffs, you have to, obviously overcome the rest. You have to overcome those calls, even if you don't like them. It's just something you have to deal with and everything. But my hat's off to Oak Forest. That's a team that really, really proved me wrong. They. From them beating Bloomington handily round 2 and then beating Peoria High last week. For those of you that have maybe tuned in or seen our CSM Pick'em on our website, Clutch Sports Media Overtime, you probably saw me guess that, hey, I think Oak Forest is going to lose to Bloomington. I thought they're going to lose to Peoria High, but not the case. So hats off to the Bengals. But a lot of really good seniors at Peoria High who. It's going to be weird not seeing them play football, at least in the Peoria High jersey again. Breon Green, Tarion Pollard, Darion Mays, Jaquarius Green. You talk about a guy that has been one of the premier football players for each of the last 4 years, even since he was a freshman. At Peoria High. So he is great. Great lineman. Fun guy to talk to as well. So again, it's going to be crazy seeing his career come to an end and everything, but. Again, Peoria High, they're a team that has a good tradition of sending guys to the next level. So I hope that over the next coming months, these guys can find college homes because, again, these are guys that are extremely talented and can definitely help, a lot of next level programs win.
Yeah, it's been fun to see their rise. I've been at the station now for 2 years, and just to see how much improvement has taken place in the 2 years that I've worked in the area, getting to cover them has just been impressive. I said this last week, I'll say it again. Breon Green is an impressive young man on the field, just the way he carries himself as a leader for that team and just the way he plays the game. And again, to your point, JM, I hope that for him and for some of these other talented seniors that, who can clearly play, maybe not at a Division I school, but, there's so many avenues that you can play college football in. So
Yep.
I hope that they get an opportunity in whatever capacity that looks like to keep playing, because there's some really talented players on that team. And, we showed it in the highlights there, but the fact that they had a 98, 99-yard, touchdown from their own one, that's probably one of the highlights of their season, having that play happen.
Man.
But man, so hopefully, Peoria High can reload and regroup for next year. And I have no doubt that Coach Montgomery can continue to keep that program, on an upward trajectory. So, but yeah, tough end for a few of our teams. But again, let's get to that EPG Farmington game. It definitely lived up to what we were hoping it to be. And EPG just they've been doing what they've been doing all season, and that's winning. And they've been dominating.
Yeah,
really.
That big 32-15 win over Farmington. Now, kind of brushed up on a little bit before you take over here, Jonathan Wilmington, who's also been on a streak here so far with some very big wins of their own. It'll be very interesting as these two have scored a lot of points so far, and they haven't given up very many each. So it'll be I'm hoping for a very, very good football game here as we look into next week.
Yeah, it's going to be a big key. You look at, I know how much Wilmington has gave up, and I think I saw something, I could be wrong, I think I saw something earlier today that Wilmington's, defense, or at least their starters on defense, have not given up a touchdown in the playoffs. They've only given up 2 touchdowns total this entire postseason. And I believe both of them came when after the starters had been pulled. Now, obviously, you look at this EPG offense. You saw, that first highlight I saw right there, EPG Farmington was that little tunnel screen to Shavon Maxon, who had an absolutely monster game. Again, he's just a sophomore for El Paso Gridley, and he had like I think somewhere around like 8 catches for around 150, 160 yards. He also had a pick. I don't know if there was a clip of it, but there was a pick where Carson Noy, Farmington's quarterback, threw the ball. It bounced off the helmet of one of his receivers, and
they picked
Maxon
it off.
goes up in the air, picks it off, and then runs it in for a pick 6. And that was
It is in this highlights. We'll see it again here shortly. Yeah, that was an unbelievable play. I remember Patrick texting about it when he got it.
I think there were 2 pick 6s from Farmington in this,
Yep.
or from El Paso Gridley
Yeah.
in this game, I think, right?
Yeah, they had 2 pick 6s. I think one of them is coming up here in a second. The first one happened really, really quickly. Just quick snap, read throw. We'll get to it here in a second. But yeah, the fact that EPG's defense in this game produced 14 points was big for them. And quite frankly, they won by 18. I mean, that's the difference in the game is the fact that their defense made those 2 plays.
They say defense wins championships for a reason.
Yeah.
But a pass bouncing off your helmet into a defender's arms has to be very demoralizing, and that's just never fun to see. But great.
What a grab there from Maxon.
I was literally about to
Holy
say that.
cow.
What a throw too.
Here's the first pick 6.
Yep.
Quick slant, great read.
I think that was Braden Gibson, I think, right there. There's 2 Bradens. There's Braden Gibson, there's Braden Hayes. Pretty sure, I believe that it might be Gibson.
I think the second
1.
one's coming up here shortly.
Yeah, this one with Maxon, but
Here it is. Doink, up in the air, off a player.
Wow.
The concentration.
Great concentration. That's so hard to, that's like that tip drill they talk about a lot when you watch those NFL games. Following a ball after it's been hit into the air is really hard to do. So for a high school defensive back to be able to do that, great concentration, and it's plays like that are fun to watch. It shows your athleticism. You were able to follow the ball after it had been tipped, hit off a dude's helmet, and then you were able to catch it and run it into the end zone.
And that came at a big time too, because I think when that play happened, it was 23-15. I know Farmington, again, I wasn't watching the game. I was listening to our audio broadcast we had on our Clutch Sports Media YouTube channel. But Farmington had gone down the field, and they were handed off to Braden Brewer a lot. He had a phenomenal drive, and then got a 2-point conversion after a touchdown from Jack Grunwald to cut it to an 8-point game. It was 23-15. But I think that's when Maxon had that pick 6, and then I think they got their last 2 points off of a safety at the very end. So I think turnovers kind of hurt Farmington a little bit. I think it was a winnable game, for Farmington. It sounded like there were a couple mistakes that if they would have cleaned up, they would have been right there in that game. And maybe they're the ones that would have gone on to face Wilmington. But again, it's going to be talk about all the seniors, leaving again. Jack Grunwald. I mean, what a career! He's going to be really fun to watch at North Dakota. And you never know in the current landscape of college athletics. I mean, Grunwald, he could start his career in North Dakota. He could end his career, playing for an FBS team. I think he's, really talented. And, again, it's wherever you go for your first, again, North Dakota is an amazing program. They're really competitive at the FCS level. And there's nothing wrong with that at all. North Dakota, a really good squad. But, again, I mean, you look at a guy like Grunwald, again, who's, got the physical talent and, he got the build. I mean, he's going to be a really fun guy to watch in college.
It'd be interesting if he ends up sticking around there, because obviously at some point he would probably play at Illinois State, given that 4 years.
Yeah.
So that would be a pretty cool homecoming for him.
I didn't think about that. That'd be really cool to be able to get the...
Yeah, Illinois State's fresh off a really big win over the weekend as well. Very impressive win, too. But yeah, I mean, to go back on that interception, I'll tell you what, when you're on the sideline with a camera, it is so hard to get plays like that, because our vantage point as a camera shooter is we are literally on those sidelines. And when the plays happen on the sideline, you can kind of see at the end of it, but we almost have to step onto the field to get the end of it, because when they run down the sideline like that, you've got all the coaches, throwing up the hands like, we're going to score. And then we're like, but we need to be able to see them score. So it takes a lot of concentration just to give people that perspective of, what it's like when you capture a play like that.
Well, hopefully nothing happened like with Sean Payton yesterday. You see the referee running him on the sideline, and the referee threw the flag. Hopefully, no one has thrown a flag on Thomas Garverick or Christopher over there.
That is my worst nightmare. I don't ever want to get some sort of conversation from an official saying, "Hey, what are you doing?" Like, that would just be so embarrassing for not just me but for the station. And so I think that's every camera guy's worst nightmare. So I think most people, I will say, in our area, they are so good. Like, once you have covered teams and people recognize you, they're like, oh, yeah, like, that's Thomas from the news, or, hey, Kurt and Patrick are here. And, people are really good about it. Like, they understand, like, hey, we're here to capture the highlights. And sometimes in order to do that, you got to give us a little bit of a wiggle room to be able to, get those shots. And so I do appreciate our coaches and officials who let us get up in the huddles and lets us, creep down the sideline during – intermission and stuff like that, because it does allow us to get those really neat shots that really paint the picture of a game. So that's just, my bird's eye view of, what it's like as a camera shooter, and all that stuff starts again Monday night with girls basketball picking up. And we're going to talk about that in just a second. But before we get to girls hoops, because we're all excited about that, what's it going to take, JM, for EBG to beat Wilmington? Because I would assume that Wilmington is probably the favorite in this game. They've looked the best in that 2A bracket. Moreau Forsyth has looked really good. We obviously know that they were very good coming in. What does EPG have to do to beat this Wilmington team to get to the state championship game?
Well, yeah, one of our reporters from Clutch Sports Media was there, kind of asked Tanner Benedict that same question. And one thing is health. EPG, a few guys are banged up right now for them, and then also again, it's going to be really being disciplined. That was another thing that Tanner Benedict mentioned as well. So again, obviously you need it against a team like Wilmington that, again, is fits that mold of that perennial contender. They always got guys that know the system. I mean, they're Wilmington's head coach. I'm pulling it up here right now, but he's been around for oh my word. I mean, keep on scrolling. He's been around since Wilmington since 1994. So again,
Wow.
They know what the expectation is.
Yep.
They know what the system is. And everything, and it's kind of one of those teams where it's just passed on down year to year. So again, those are going to be two key things for EPG. Another key thing, though, again, in EPG's advantage is that I think the Titans might be one of the faster teams that Wilmington has faced this season. Again, you talk to a lot of coaches, and they say, hey, man, EPG is so fast. I mean, they go no huddle. They got the Maxons. They got Aiden Adams. They got Braden Gibson. They got Braden Hayes. All those guys are all pretty fast. So if EPG can use their speed. Also, again, it's tough to play fast and also play discipline at the same time. But if you can do both those things together, I think EPG has a chance. So,
yeah, it'll be interesting for sure. We'll be watching Saturday at 5 in the burbs of Chicago.
Yeah.
very outer burbs.
Very outer.
Very outer burbs.
Well, Thomas, you kind of hinted at it, and unfortunately, as much as we love talking some of the high school football, it is dwindling down, as we've discussed, down to EPG. But we got word from the higher ups we must continue. I'm just kidding. We
must make it seem like that's a chore.
Yeah.
We can do this all day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So something a little bit different now is, as Thomas said, we got women's basketball starting today. We do have a couple of games this evening. So
some high school girls hoops.
And
it starts Monday. Boys hoops next week.
Yep, and college has already started. So we got some great hoops to now we can kind of fill your screens with for those of you who aren't necessarily the biggest football fans. So
yeah.
What do we kind of got going on today there?
Well, yeah, as far as the actual schedule goes, again, me personally, I'm trying to get through the rest of the fall season, so I am in the process of make a big old master schedule for the entire season, for every sport, every school. So I'm still in the process.
Really?
I do. Yep, I have it on Google Sheets right now or whatever. But I'm when I get home today, that's what I'm finishing up doing, is making this huge schedule. It takes a lot of time, but it really pays off in terms of like planning stuff during the year.
You know what's really funny is
What?
I was gonna text Christopher and give him a little project. You know what that project was going to be?
Make a full master schedule of every
I
game for
wasn't
every
gonna-
year.
I wasn't
And
gonna
there's
do that.
no
I
way
got
Christopher
better
would
things to
say yes to that. But now, Jonathan, you are the answer to my prayers. Now it sounds like all I need is just
I'll
a
send it
Google
over.
link, and
I'll send it over.
Oh, you know what,
Lifesaver.
people?
This is why we have Jonathan Michael on the podcast. Friends.
People do not understand the value of JM. Like seriously, people are
Hey,
like, it's just a schedule."
I'm almost too deep in it. There's sometimes I'm like, man, what am I doing right now? But I'm like, you know what? No, this is
He has
so.
nightmares about master schedules for basketball over there.
Actually,
He wakes up
winter
in
is
a
actually
cold
the easiest
sweat.
one
You know what?
because
I'm going to say this right now. Jonathan Michael is the Central Illinois version of John Rothstein. He is.
hey, I'm a big fan of John Rothstein,
We
so I
love
did
John
that compliment
Rothstein.
very, very highly.
He's awesome.
I appreciate it, but
I love his tweets when he goes, Yeah, are you hanging out with your family for Thanksgiving? Nope, I'm watching, Illinois State versus Bradley.
Yeah.
Like, I love his tweets. Like that,
Yeah.
JM could be doing a billion other things. You know what JM is doing because he cares for the love of the game? He's making a master schedule of all the games for girls and boys.
Girls and boys,
Wow.
for wrestling and all the other sports as well.
Gosh,
So.
That makes us
gotta
CI
love
proud.
wrestling. What a sport, man.
Yeah, yeah, but I mean, hey, but you're saying, say that, obviously, you said it's hard as actually the fall and the spring ones are actually the hardest ones because there's usually more games, a lot more sports. In winter, it's mostly just basketball,
Yep.
wrestling. There's also boys swimming as well. Those are kind of just the main ones, so it's a little bit easier actually for the winter. But again, yeah, there's gonna be a lot of good games going on. I mean, there's some Thanksgiving tournaments going on in girls hoops and everything. I don't know that much right now. I know that Richwoods has a really big game against Chicago Whitney Young tonight, which Whitney Young is a really good girls basketball team. And Richwoods, that's the team that I wanted to talk about. I mean, they bring back London Somerville, daughter of Bradley Braves legend Marcella Somerville, younger sister of Lathan Somerville.
Yep.
So she's back. She is an absolute haul in the paint. They also have Kayla Heron, a transfer from Culver Academies in Indiana. And she is, again, very talented, college-bound prospect. And then Richwoods also got another transfer from Dunlap in Kanaya Todd, who is, one of the big three freshmen for Dunlap last year. Is one of the best freshmen in the entire state. So Richwoods is going to be a major team to watch out for on the girls' hoop side this year.
Yeah, excited to see them. I saw a little bit of them last year. And actually, I'm going to give a little shout out to our guy, Brock Alkire.
Yeah.
Or is it Alkire?
I don't know. I had to double check.
Brock, you're going to have to shoot
I
us
say
a message if you
Alkire
see
because
this.
he covers
watches-
it all.
He
No,
is. You know what? I like
okay,
that.
That's what we'll call him.
Brock wrote up a full article previewing the entire girls basketball season in Central Illinois. It's a 9-minute read. Highly suggest reading it. It's up on his Wix site. If you just search for his name, Brock Alkire, it'll probably pop up. But Brock, big shout out to you because I got to, get my quick little refresh of, the key players returning for certain teams. And obviously, JM, we talked about this over text, the notable changes for coaches. And then we had a couple of class changes for some of our schools, which is going to play a factor when it comes to the playoffs. So.
Yeah, it's gonna be really interesting. I mean, it's gonna be crazy not seeing Bob Becker on the sidelines for Morton again. Jamie King is taking over, but again, he's got a couple really key returners, including Abby Van Menen, Paige Selke over there at Morton. So again, Morton should still be I think right there in the mix. That's a program that again knows the expectation. They're gonna play Morton Potter basketball no matter who's their head coach. So Morton's going to be good again this year. Dunlap has a new head coach, Kevin Metzger, coaching veteran, been around, the college and high school level as well. Now he fills in at Dunlap, which obviously lost Kanaya Todd, but they do bring back Kiara Haywood and Amaya Goli. Those are, again, part of that big three freshman group that Dunlap had, and both of those are really solid players, so Dunlap should be good. Again, even despite the coaching change, P&D, obviously a new head coach this year, Mike Breitbach. That was unfortunately under a little bit, sadder of circumstances with Lane Langhoff stepping away.
Yep.
He's a good man. I
Yes.
enjoyed covering their deep postseason runs and just one of the nicest coaches I've ever met. So.
I read that story. Just a sad incident, but
Kurt did a great story
Wishing
about
the
his
best
son.
for the Langhoff family,
100%.
certainly as
100%.
well. But yeah, no. But again, even though P&D obviously new head coach, kind of a late, late change there. Again, they still have Lexi Bear, Emmy Wardle, Cora Hines, Ada Maloney, all back for P&D. So I think even though they lost some key players, obviously Julia Mingus and a few others, P&D is going to be good this year. But man, I think we talk girls basketball. It is impossible to not talk about the Washington Panthers. That is going to be an
100%.
absolute
For sure.
wagon.
so
We'll
good.
call it the Washington wagon. I mean, they are going to be unstoppable.
Are you on the Washington? Are you on the bandwagon there?
Oh, I mean, I wouldn't say I'm on the bandwagon because I've known that Washington's going to be this year is going to be a big year for Washington since 2022 when these girls were freshmen. I mean, obviously Avery Tibbs, Becca McDougal, Mazzy O'Brien, Danny Gaudet, all going to colleges. They made their signings last week, so that was big for them. Congratulations.
Yep.
But I mean, a lot of them have been impact players since their freshman year, and this is now round 4, so going to be a huge season for Washington.
Yeah, Avery Tibbs might be one of the best three-point shooters in the state.
Oh yeah, she's ridiculous.
I mean, literally crazy. 46% from three.
Man.
she shot from three last year.
Man.
46%.
That's nuts.
I mean, that is
nuts.
unreal.
That's nuts.
To
You're
shoot.
so close to making every other shot you shoot. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, Washington is loaded. I mean, they bring back so many key pieces. This is definitely going to be, I don't want to say the word swan song because they're just such a good program. But obviously, this is a team that was at state last year. This is a team that probably expects to be there again. Just looking through some of the other, what's crazy? So Emmy Wardle averaged 7.5 assists a game last year.
That sounds about
P&D.
Wardle.
So, yeah, for people who go, wait, I've heard that name. Yeah. She's the daughter of the head coach for Bradley. So basketball runs in her blood. Her sister is also at Bradley. So, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I mean, can she creep close to averaging a double-double? I mean, that would be something. Dalia DeJesus for DMAC averaged a double-double last year. 17 and 10. She's already committed to Quincy. So excited to see what she does in her senior year. And DMAC is moving down to 1A.
Yep.
And that is big for them because you go from 2A to 1A, might clear the way for a deep, really deep DMAC run because they've run into P&D so many times
Yep.
in the playoffs.
Yep,
Now your competition, and this is no, discredit to 1A, but clearly there's a difference between 1A, 2A competition. So we'll see if that favors DMAC going
For
forward.
sure. Yeah, and again, we saw it in volleyball too. Tremont, they were normal 2A team. They're down in 1A this year for basketball. So
Yep.
again, they'll certainly be a team to watch out for as well. But yeah, that really clears the way in 2A for somebody else. I mean, obviously, I think DMAC certainly can make a deep run in 1A. And man, DeJesus, I think is going to put up some monster, absolutely crazy numbers this year.
Yeah.
She scored 50 points in the game last year, which is
Yeah.
just ridiculous. And obviously P&D, they're moving up to 3A. So I mean, P&D and Washington is going to. I mean, hopefully, I hope that those two teams get put in different sectionals and they can somehow both make it to state because they
That would
both.
be awesome.
I mean, both
It would be
certainly
a
capable of doing
Tragedy if those two had to play each other before state.
So. Yeah,
And Morden's in
Yep.
there too.
Yep,
So like
they
you're gonna
are.
have a really, I mean, that's gonna be just
and also Richards is up in 4A now.
yeah.
Yeah, because their enrollment increased by a lot. So yeah, that'll again. So obviously, normal community is usually the perennial favorite for that 4A regional. But Richwoods, they're going to be one to watch out for as well. But I mean, talk about 2A. Obviously, DMAC moving down, P&D moving up. Who does that leave the door open for to make a deep run in 2A? Well, I have a couple of possibilities. One is Manual.
Yeah.
Manual's a team that really got a
Yep.
lot better last year. I'm really high on what head coach Holly Nelson has been able to do.
She was coaching the summer league in a boot. That's how
Really?
committed she was. Yeah, she was recovering from some sort of injury, and I remember running the highlights with Kurt and Patrick, and they're like, "Yep, she's out there coaching summer league in a boot." So
Yeah,
they're locked in.
Yeah, she has some great players coming back to you. Briaji Grayson, dynamic guard. Diana Payton is a walking double-double as a forward as well. They also got Micaiah Maxwell, who's a really strong sophomore for them. So, Manuel's going to have a good season this year, too, I would have to guess. Also in Class 2, I'm keeping an eye on, obviously, Bloomington Central Catholic. They got some key returners back. That's a team that's always very good. Eureka, obviously, got both the Edwards twins, Maya and Ivy Edwards back as well. Also, I think IVC could be a really good contender. I mean, they got Rihanna Foster, who is coming back from an injury, but very good player. They got a sophomore, I almost said freshman, but a sophomore named Alea Nelton, who had a really good freshman season until she got hurt, and they have some other key players coming back too. So I have my eye on those teams a lot in Class 2A.
It's honestly pretty crazy. I know we got to get to break.
Yep.
But man, I just want to say this before we have to go to break. There are so many talented high school girls on the basketball floor in this area. Like it's actually crazy. Like we didn't even mention the fact that Bree Harms just committed to Illinois Wesleyan, and she has had just an unbelievable career at Roanoke Benson. So I mean, it's going to be fun to see. You get one more year of her, one more year of DeJesus, Lexi Bear. I mean, all these great players, all the great players at Washington. It's really fun. I know that we love football. Basketball season is just as fun because you've got girls hoops a couple of nights of the week, boys hoops a couple of nights of the week. I mean, it is literally almost an every night affair. Like for me at the station, I love basketball season because I'm out shooting basketball almost every night during the week. It is honestly so fun. I mean, I saw Jonathan, probably at least twice a week at games this past year. Like
Something like that.
pretty crazy. So I'm really excited for girls hoops to kick off tonight, and then obviously boys hoops next week. So it'll be a good season.
And as Thomas said, there's always a lot of basketball going on. We continue to work to kind of make the podcast as best as we can. We're working on some new thoughts, so we'll keep trying to evolve the podcast, make it as good as we can, and cover everything within the area that we physically can. So once again, we do thank you guys so much for watching, as this was, once again, the 13th episode. It's a lot of fun. It's really cool. And always appreciate Jonathan joining us with his master schedules and his
It'll be done by this time next week.
and his great insight. So we will be back here after a short break with a little bit of college. Hello and welcome back to this week's episode of the CI Sports Zone. I'm Christopher Hueslig. Joining with me, as always, my co-host Thomas Garverick and reporter Alex Berger.
AB is in the house.
We just got done
am.
talking through a little bit of college basketball or of high school basketball and football with Jonathan Michael. Now we're pivoting a little bit to college football. We had a big game here, Oklahoma, tightening up their chances of making
Great
the
outcome.
playoffs.
It's always
with
a great Monday when
big-
we can talk about an Alabama
with a
loss.
big win over Alabama. They looked really good in that game. It was fun to watch. Came down there to the wire. They got a big stop at the end of the game. Oklahoma's defense did, and oh man, it was just as Thomas said. It's always a little bit more enjoyable when we can watch the Crimson Tide fall.
Oh, yeah.
They're
Without a doubt.
Their
Sorry,
playoff.
not sorry to
It's
Alabama
listen.
fans.
I will here's how you want to hear something that's just so pathetic. I'm
Let's
a
hear it.
Cleveland Browns fan. I'm like happier. Like I can deal with the Browns losing, whatever. I don't care. But man, when Alabama loses, when Michigan loses, it's like the best day ever. Like it's Victory Monday. Like I care more about those teams losing than I care about the Browns winning right now. How pathetic is that?
Well, I mean, that's just like the teams that like
But I want the Browns to
purposely
lose. They're doing great
take out a
losing.
playoff team or something like that.
Great.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oklahoma, man, you know what's really funny about college football? It's just such a weird, fun sport, right?
Yeah.
Because Oklahoma looked terrible against Texas. Mateer came back from the injury, did not look good at all.
And Texas ain't great.
And then, in Texas,
So
whatever. But then Oklahoma, they lost at home to Ole Miss. They lost to Texas 2 out of 3. You're thinking, all right, they're probably dead in the water. And how has Oklahoma responded? They've gone on the road to Tennessee, on the road to Alabama, and they've won.
Oh yeah.
I mean, just hats off to them. Hats off to Brett Venables for getting that group to regroup, get their confidence back. And that was a huge win to obviously keep their playoff hopes alive, right? Because 3 losses and you are going to need some major help to get in. So now Oklahoma controls their destiny, right? If they beat Missouri at home and then beat LSU at home, which they should win both those games, Oklahoma is in the playoff. So
Well, and then-
very fascinating development there.
And also, that was very much so a team win for Oklahoma. As you look, John Mateer, 15 for 23 for 138, not stat popping or not jumping off the page stats.
Eye popping, we know. What
Yeah,
we're
you
going
know,
for.
or compared to Ty Simpson's 28 for 42 for 326 and a touchdown. But then you look at it. Here's where what caught my eye looking at these. Rushing or receiving yards, 36, 26, 26, 23. Like we got 5 people who have over 20 yards receiving.
Right.
So it's like it's just a solid all-around team win. They had, let's see, Robinson with 34 yards on the ground, Mateer with 23, so he's not only throwing it, he was getting it done on the ground himself as well. And then Sategna with 21 yards on 1 carry. So it was just a big team win there for the Sooners. Once again, it was a must-win for them. If they lose that, they don't make the playoffs, in my very strong opinion. At 3 wins, I think there's too many 2-win teams that are really good this season to squeeze in with 3 wins unless something crazy happens in the next 2 weeks. But once again, great job by the Sooners.
Oklahoma's never going to win with eye-popping numbers. That's not who they are.
No, it's just
That was a vintage Oklahoma win this year because they won the turnover battle, 3-0.
Yep.
Right? They have the pick 6. They had a fumble that resulted in some points that they took advantage of those missed opportunities from Alabama, and that is Oklahoma. That is how they beat you. They're not going to beat you with John Mateer is not going to throw for 300 yards against SEC competition. And Ty Simpson's a really good quarterback. I still really like him. I think he's going to be a high draft pick in the NFL. But this goes back to the concerns for Alabama was not having a run game. That's why they have to rely on Ty Simpson throwing for 300 yards.
Yep.
Again, Alabama ran for less than 2.5 yards a carry. Testament to Oklahoma and just it.
You can't win a game 2.5 yards a carry. You just
Yeah.
can't do
Their
it.
biggest issues came to life in that game. Turnover battle, couldn't run the ball. And that's why Oklahoma was able to grind out a victory on the road. So
Yeah, and
good win for them.
And it
Yeah.
comes down. John Mateer didn't have, the most impressive stats, but he also didn't turn the ball over. He didn't throw a pick. So great win. Stepdad's from Oklahoma, so I'm big. I love to see Oklahoma succeed.
He's always repping the Oklahoma gear.
Oh, always.
When he came here and
always.
visited, he was repping the Oklahoma gear. So
And he's 6'6", so it's like it's hard
7'8".
It's hard not to see. But another game, guys, that kind of was crazy. Texas A&M, South Carolina.
oh man,
That game was absolutely wild.
A 1-point win by Texas A&M.
that was crazy.
Oh, South Carolina sold that game. It was their game
Oh,
to
yeah.
win, and they just could not get it done.
That film session's got to be terrible.
Well, I'll be honest. Their head coach, I think it's Frank Beamer. I think that's
Beamer, yes.
Yeah, I think that's who their head coach is. I believe.
Yeah.
And they're feeling good. They're up big at halftime, 30-3. He's interacting with the crowd right, and I'm just like, dude, don't do that.
Well,
But the thing is, you're up 30-3. You think there's no way I'm going to blow a 27-point lead, even though it was on the road. And they did. They did. I mean, I'm sorry, but that is a game in the landscape of college football where coaches get fired
Oh,
for
absolutely.
poor seasons. I'm honest. I know that Frank Beamer is beloved there at SC, but that is a fireable game.
You're
from a
not-
coach.
you're not
30-3.
I've been in several
Horrible.
football games in my life where you're winning at halftime and you're sitting in the locker room and everyone's celebrating, and in college their locker room was under ours. So we're celebrating at half like we won a game. All that does is it makes the other team mad. And
Oh, yeah.
when you're playing a better team, the last thing you want is to make them mad. And I'm sure
Or give 'em a reason to-
him up celebrating with the crowd at halftime is not something that would make those Texas A&M football players very happy.
No.
So once again, South Carolina had a great first half. They just couldn't finish the game.
You just
you
can't
gotta
look like
win.
Nick Sirianni when you're at South Carolina and you're playing one of the best college offenses we've seen in a little while, and good heavens, you can't be celebrating at halftime.
Yeah.
What's crazy though is me and some buddies from back at home were literally saying at halftime, wow, this is going to be a big shakeup to the rankings.
It would have been.
And we were all in agreement. We're like, this is the stunner of the week. I mean, Marcel Reed, who I have had a lot of high praise for, I think he is the closest version to a Louisville Lamar Jackson. Just the way that his athletic talent, again, Lamar Jackson in college is a one of one,
I
but
know what you
Marcel
mean.
Reed compares to him in terms of athleticism.
How they compare Josh Allen to Cam Newton and stuff like that.
Sure.
It's the-
yeah. But that was by far the worst half of football that A&M has played in a long time. And Marcel Reed had multiple bad throws. Just was not looking like the guy who, quite frankly, is probably a top 10 Heisman candidate.
Right.
It was just really bad. They missed a couple really, they had a chip shot field goal. Kevin Concepcion dropped a touchdown. Just all of this, just terrible play in the first half. And then what do? They come out in the third quarter and they go touchdown.
Yep.
SC turns it over on downs, touchdown, 3 and out, touchdown. And all of a sudden, a 30-3 game, it's 30-27. And A&M is able to take the lead early in the fourth quarter. I literally said this in our group chat. SC blew a 27-point lead in 20 minutes of game time. That should not be even possible. Down 4 possessions.
Yeah.
Just insane that, it's malpractice that A&M was able to score 3 touchdowns in a quarter.
Yeah.
They had enough time to have 3 drives. SC did nothing in the second half. I mean, it's like you're up 30-3. Control the clock, manufacture first downs, and A&M's defense stepped up and shut them down.
How about the underdog win from that little school, Georgia? That was crazy, huh? They
Georgia and Texas.
Hey, it's time to talk about Texas. And
What about them?
It's time to talk about this gentleman named Steve Sarkisian.
Get ready to learn LinkedIn, buddy.
Get ready to learn.
Because you'll watch every single. Now, I'm not watching every single Texas game, but I'm just saying.
He cannot win the big game.
No, in each one that you watch, they're like, oh, is he on his way to the Giants? Could he be coaching the Giants? No. Get ready to learn the Argonauts. Go to college or Canadian football, because what are you doing? That is one of the biggest coaching jobs in football, is Texas football.
And then his biggest win on the probably that I would argue that Vanderbilt win by 3 points in Texas.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
Yeah, it's
Now,
just been
Vanderbilt's good.
Vanderbilt's good.
But-
Been a rocky season for Texas, man.
They're so weird. Like, they'll play good, and then it's like they forget what. It's almost like they thought they were on the soccer field or something. Like, what do we?
It's just been it's been a rough season because there was just so much expectation on Arch Manning, so much, and it was not
Almost
fair.
an unfair amount. Yeah.
It was an unfair amount. You know, people are proclaiming him, as the second coming of Peyton and Eli, and because his last name's Manning, and
He's looking more like the second coming of Archie Manning.
literally, I mean, no joke. I mean,
Oh, man.
I do think it's really fascinating that. I mean, what's the difference between Steve Sarkisian and James Franklin? What is the
Yeah.
difference?
Steve
What
Sarkisian
is the
still
di-
has a job.
Well,
Yeah, that's
but that's the
difference.
point. That's
James
the point.
Franklin's
James
on LinkedIn
Franklin,
Premium.
Now, granted, James Franklin has been at Penn State longer than.
Did he go to the Giants? James Franklin?
Well, apparently he's going to go to Virginia Tech, according to reports. But
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
Anyway.
I forgot about that.
But like to me, it's like when do, to your point, Alex, when does the seat really heat up for Sark? Because you're at Texas, you have a ton of resources.
Yeah.
That's not the issue.
No,
He's calling the plays.
the largest donor pool, one of the largest donor pools.
When do we start to just say, hey, maybe this guy is just not as good of an offensive play caller as we proclaim him to be?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's just kind of it. And we should probably kind of get rolling here a little bit. We do got some NFL and
That's
some
true.
fantasy
Yes,
to talk.
we do.
So we're going to take just another really short break, and we will be back once again. NFL, fantasy football. Thank you guys for joining us on the WMBD Plus app, and we'll be right back. Hello and welcome back to this week's episode of the CI Sports Zone. Joining with me as we get ready to talk a little bit of NFL, a little bit of
NFL,
fantasy. Thomas Garverick, my co-host, and Alex Berger. So, guys, great football going on this weekend with the NFL. We had wasn't
really
so, for the most
great.
part, wasn't so great for me. I'm over it. It is what it is. It's a football game that I didn't play in, but
Yeah.
That you were watching.
that I did watch. I did
And
watch
I guess
it.
apparently it was a ref show.
Oh Lord.
It's always funny whenever it's really funny
Well, hold-
hearing from Christopher when the Chiefs lose.
Well, hold on,
It's always
hold
a ref show.
No, no, it is not. It's not even remotely true.
let you
Here is literally what I said, word for word. Okay, I said, when your defense has them on third down twice and doesn't stop them, you lose the right to complain about the refs. Here's what I will say: Franklin false started, like clear as day. Literally, the corner's like pointing at him. He like moved a yard to his left. You can't do that. 2, he then shoved off, caught the ball. Once again, though. When you have them at 3rd and 15, you let them get a first down, you lose all rights to complain. Like, let's just be real.
I love hearing a Chiefs fan complain about not getting favorable calls. That's like,
Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to.
I love it. It's fun. It's fun.
There-
I'm a
there's
Panthers
just,
fan.
There's just one penalty that really irks my gears, and it's wide receiver false starts. He is 3 yards away from the ref. How do you not see that? Like
There's a couple of those this
Here,
week.
hey, I'll tell you why. Do. Hey, Vegas? Yeah? Oh, okay.
no,
You have
but-
their phone number?
Yeah, right.
That's great.
Like I said, it was the Broncos played good. I mean, you can't have a team on 3rd and 15
Yeah.
with a minute left in the game.
It was a symbolic game,
And
though.
let
Truly.
Bo Nix roll out. Now, I don't think the Chiefs season's completely done. I think
No,
I think
people
they
saying
they,
that are
they have they're pretty close to having to win out. They need to win against the Colts, and I don't think they can lose to the Broncos or the Chargers. But both games will be played in Kansas City.
Bears. Chicago Bears.
All right.
As both-
Anyway, as I was
both-
saying,
as things stand, the Chiefs are not in the playoff picture right now, which is pretty crazy.
well, I thought they were still in the hunt, but like,
They're in the hunt,
Yeah,
but they
yeah,
are
yeah.
not in. I
You know,
guess
that-
they are not in the playoffs. They're in the
So-
playoff picture.
You know who's
But,
also
hey,
in the hunt?
hey,
But they're not
Carolina
in.
Panthers. Yeah.
speaking of which, the Bears, once again,
The champs.
cardiac Bears, as
Truthfully.
people like to call them.
Especially this week. Oh
The,
my gosh.
the first place NFC North Bears.
True that.
How
true
about that?
Oh yes, that was
Got
what a
little
great
help
game
from the
that
Eagles.
was.
I saw a joke, and it was I think Patrick might have sent it or something. It was like, what are the odds the Pope's favorite team just starts doing really good? Like,
Seriously, well, can't say that for my Bulls, unfortunately. But
or the White Sox.
yeah, but the Bears. I mean, here's the thing: this is progression. First game of this season. Remember when they were saying that J.J. McCarthy looked like prime Joe Montana in the fourth quarter, that first game of this season? They almost did the same thing. They almost did the same thing to the Bears, but the Bears were able to stop them this time, stop that momentum. I mean, the Vikings are not great, but they are that team that they can flip a switch. They've got Kevin O'Connell, and they're supposed to be really good, but the Bears are just better. There's a reason they are number one in that division, is because they know what they're doing. They have a good coach and a developing quarterback, and great pieces around them. They're actually starting to steamroll. They're legit. So, exciting stuff.
Yeah,
Ooh,
man.
I don't know. Listen, I'm happy for the Bears. I don't know.
Don't tell me they're not legit.
I'm not ready to call. When I say legit, I'm thinking like, okay, this team is a Super Bowl contender.
I'm not saying they're like a three-peater, like Patrick Mahomes type team. I'm saying that they're like
I guess we just have two different definitions of legit. That's
legit
all.
for me is a playoff team. Legit for me is a playoff team.
Yeah,
I think
mean,
they're a playoff team.
I think that I will say teams like the Bears and the Broncos, I think their luck's
Yeah.
going to run out. I just think like truthfully in the playoffs, like you don't get this lucky. And I feel like the Broncos have been able to win every single close game, similar to
Right.
kind of like what the Chiefs have had, where they've just been able to find a way to scratch and claw to a victory. And I do
That's
think
always been them, though.
I think Caleb Williams has gotten better, but there's still a lot of room for improvement for him. And obviously, I think Ben Johnson is happy that they are still just finding ways to win. Because to your point, Alex, the old Chicago Bears would have found another way to lose that game, right? They were down by, they were up 16-3. The Vikings scored 2 touchdowns, and the old Bears would have just said, all right, we're going to have a meltdown in the final 50 seconds and blow this thing.
The Bears of old would have been 2-8 by now. They would have been
So,
absolutely
Very
in the
impressed that
dumps.
the Bears are 7-3. I still think that it's the Lions' division to lose, although they looked terrible on Sunday Night Football. Jared Goff.
They played the champs.
Well,
They
I
played
mean,
the champs.
The Eagles really haven't been looking crazy.
Eagles-
this
No,
season
really.
either.
They're not the Seahawks
The
or the
Eagles'
Rams.
defense is really good.
It
really
is.
good. But their offense is just atrocious.
Well,
Really
fellas,
atrocious.
I do want some time here.
We do gotta-
because, let's
bring it up.
As we'll see here, the updated standings, unfortunately,
Ooh, I'm closing in.
we've been about the same distance apart for a while now.
Okay, yes.
But with the
for
game last
cinematic
week, Alex and I picked the right ones. Thomas just was throwing caution to the wind. He needed a big win
Packers
there.
should have won that game, too. That's the sad thing.
probably
They
should.
should-
That was
they,
rough.
like,
And
just
friends,
gave it away.
Unfortunately, I wish I could say this week was going to be an interesting Monday night football game.
No.
We got
I wanna know-
America's team, the Dallas Cowboys.
Dude.
Who at the NFL headquarters goes, yeah, let's put the Cowboys and the Raiders on Monday Night Football.
But-
That's a great
but-
idea.
Their record?
You,
3-5-1.
3-5-1, and then it's
Yeah.
2-6
Yeah,
is
no.
the Raiders.
It's like those old Jaguars Titans Thursday night games with the color rush where you're like, do we have to watch this?
I wish Patrick was here to hear what he was going to say. Maybe I'll get him a video of him. Maybe I can convince him to send me a video so I can post it on Twitter.
While he's on jury duty.
Well, it'll have to be after, of course, but
Yeah.
I'm sure he'll want to talk something. So maybe I'll convince him to send us a little pig video. But
Oh, yeah.
for this one, as we do need to kind of move along here, I'm taking the Cowboys. I don't think I'll ever take the Raiders on a Monday Night Football game ever in my
I already
life.
did once
And
for
You
fun.
did.
And that was terrible.
so give me the Cowboys.
Yep. Cowboys 21-10.
Okay. Well,
Yep.
Alex with the score. Thomas.
I mean, I'm already down, like 4 games to you guys?
You're down 3 to Alex, 4 to me.
I'm not. I'm just gonna pick the Cowboys. I've watched the Raiders enough, man. Geno has been just terrible. And you watch. The Raiders are going to come out on Monday night, and Brock Bowers is going to look like Gronk again, and Geno Smith's going to turn back the clock. And you watch. Somehow this is going to be like a 50-40 shootout.
Well, thank you guys so much for watching us here on WMBD Plus app. We will see you guys next week with another episode. See you guys later.